morning. My printer ran out of ink, so I'm kind of stuck on transferring and tooling. So what I thought right now, I would go over modifying your tools. If you buy lesser expensive tools, there's a good chance that you're going to have to work on them a little bit. You buy the, expensive tools that are built by craftsmen, 99% of the time they're going to work well. And you won't have to, unless you want to change it to make it do a specific thing that you want. Okay? So, let's start with simple modifications. We'll start with what I use, using some splits that I had. You can use simple sharpening stones. You can use a belt sander, which I customize knives, so I have some equipment that you probably don't that make it a little bit quicker and easier, but it can be done this way. To, sandpaper, emery sandpaper will also work for finishing some of this stuff. When I'm roughing things in, I'll start with a coarse stone, and here I'm working with a 320, and sometimes you might even go coarser than that. What we'll start with is the 941. The 941, let me bring a piece of leather over. This tool I've already worked, so it's going to do what I want. It's a triangular beveler, and when I use it, I want to be able to walk it in to make nice, clean points. This one, when I bought it, it was rounded up front. It wasn't a nice, clean, sharp point. So what you can do is just take it on a sharp point and go back and forth, bringing it to a finer point. When I'm doing this, I've got the leather out and I'm testing it as I do it. Once I got done with the 320, I would go to probably a 600 or so and do the same thing. On this, I don't need a mirror polish. I need a good, smooth finish. You will cut through the chrome plating on the tool, which isn't a big deal. You're polishing it, so it's going to smooth right back out. But now when I use it, I've got that crisp, clean point. And when I'm talking an inexpensive tool that goes anywhere from $11 to $15, I expect I may have some issues that I've got to work with versus spending $30 to $40 for a craftsman-made tool. But, excuse me, that's one tool that I did. I did the same thing with my 976 to bring it to a point, a sharper point. So that will cover those particular tools. Another one, and I haven't done this one, is a beveler. And I've found this problem on bevelers more often. This point right up here is pretty dull and rounded. For me, when I'm tooling, I want a sharper point so when I'm walking it along the cut, it falls in a little bit easier. This one is probably the easiest, one of the easiest to cure. I'm going to go back to this stone. And all I'm going to do is take that flat edge, put it down on the stone, and go back and forth. And I can feel it sharpening a little bit. This way, it does take a while because you're doing it by hand. If I could take this out to my belt, it'd be like a few seconds and I'd be down. Okay, that's all it took to get this to a cleaner edge. Now I'm going to try it again. Oh yeah, it's a whole lot better. Between these two imprints, you can see it's much sharper. Once I've done that with a 320, I'm going to come to the 600 and do the same thing. That cleaned it up. And what I'm doing here, I'm feeling how sharp that edge is. You know, if it's razor sharp, I don't want it. And if that's the case, I may just bring it down just slightly. Once it's like that, I'll try it again. And this is the trick on it. You do a little bit and you test it. Because it's very hard to put metal back on. Taking it off is a lot easier. So, and now I've got a stamp that works the way I want it to. Nice and clean. It'll ride the cut like I like. That right there was a quick, easy fix. Another fix that I have, and I still have to do that one, is on this figure beveler, 895. It's got a round edge on it too, and for me, it doesn't work well. For the same reason as the straight beveler, this one is a little bit easier because it's a smooth finish on the bottom and on the side. So to get this where I want, I can take off the back right here in combination with this if I want. So let's stamp this quickly. It's a little bit softer than I like. I don't want it razor sharp, but I do want it a little bit pointier. And you can see this isn't taking a super long time. And see how I'm rocking it as I go? I don't want to create a flat spot So I'm starting on one corner, and as I draw, I'm rolling it over. And I'm trying to hit a good portion of the face. I'm not trying to just hit the edge. So I'm trying to keep it perpendicular to the stone. I don't want to do it like that. I've been very blessed. My career was in injection molding, from medical to precision to automotive. And I dealt with tool makers quite a bit, repairing tools, cleaning them, polishing them. So I was blessed with seeing how master tool and die makers would work. So it doesn't frighten me as much. But this can make your tools do exactly the way you want them to work. And I'm going to go to the top, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm walking it back and forth. And I'm feeling it for that edge, and felt pretty good. Now, it's working for my taste much better. If I look closely at this, I can see a sharper edge in the bottom. Well, now I've got to do the same thing I did before. Come back and polish this up a little bit. Take away some of those marks. Because with this, you're going to get the marks of the 320 stone. So you've got to go progressively lower to remove each mark. And if this is 600, I'm going to end up with marks from a 600 stone. To take it down from there, I can go to an Arkansas stone and work it. To polish it up nice. I'm not sure if you can see where I've worked right in here. And same thing right up here. I tried to hit more of it and I blended it back. If I wanted it even nicer, I could take some polishing rouge, put it down, and polish it up. And you can go finer this, you can go all the way to a complete mirror finish. By going down, I've used polishing compounds that were pastes to bring up a mirror finish because I was running optical quality parts in medical industry. And that was fun because if you're cleaning the mold and you got a fingerprint on it, that could ruin the part. So they had to be completely polished and clean. Okay. Let's see if you can see this better. Can you see how it's nice and shiny? That will run nice. Sharp cutting edges generally don't run through the leather as good when you're drawing it. This tool right here is working real nice now. Sometimes, and I've just gone over gentle cleanup. There are times when you're going to want to remove material and change the profile. Here is an example. This, no, not this one. This one is an F890. It is the smallest right now from the manufacturers. There is one person that makes a finer one, and that's Clay Miller. He makes a fantastic figure beveler, and I've got his set, but they're in storage, so I'm having to I wanted to do leather work, so it meant I had to start over again with some tools until I can get mine. I was using that small figure beveler more than I thought I would. So I was running into some frustration now because I couldn't get where I wanted. I had an extra 890, so I started reprofiling it. And I have to keep an eye on how I hold it because it's easy to get it wrong in the angles. But you can see how much smaller the 890 is now from what it was. And this, I did take it to my belt sander so that I could take off some material, because you can see I had to remove quite a bit from the sides, and then I had to reshape the back of it. But it's not hard. First, my goal was to get the width that I wanted. Once I got the width, then I could go along and start shaping the sides of the tool, because I wanted a nice smooth backside to it where it kind of came up like a really soft triangle back. Okay. And I did that. Once I had the rough shape in, I came in with my stone and I just worked it to get the angle this way. I did the same this way. I worked it. And then once I had the angle going back, I was rolling it to get the nice roundness on back. Once that was done, I started working the bottom profile. What I've found is as I go smaller in my figure beveler, I like a little bit of a steeper angle than I would with an 896. You can see it's real flat. I wanted a little steeper because if I'm using this tool, I'm in a very small area and I need that ability to move. So this one's a little bit more difficult because as small as it is, I'm bringing this back and rolling it so I have a nice, smooth, gentle heel back here. And it's kind of just a gentle taper back this way, and then I roll the heel. To do that, I was coming in first to get my angle. I held my tool up at the angle I wanted the bottom to be, and I just ran back and forth trying to keep this straight up and down. I just wanted to get the rough angle in first. Once I got that angle in and I was happy, then I could do this number. I could come down and kind of roll it up a little bit to kind of give me that heel that I wanted. Once I've got those two angles in, the tool does not work very good for me if it's a very sharp right angle right here. It works better for me if it's rolled a little bit. So to do that, I took the stone again and I just did this number. I didn't want to roll it a whole lot, so I held the angle and I just kind of short stroked it. And since you're removing off an angle, there isn't a whole lot of steel there, so you've got to go real slow. You know, don't bear down on it and work it for a little bit. Work it for a few strokes. Stop. Take your finger. This part of your finger is very sensitive. And if you take that and you feel around that edge, if you're feeling a sharp catch, like a knife almost, it's too sharp. When your fingers smooth around it, then you know you're getting there. I did that to both sides. Once I was there, I went down to a finer stone. The front, you may end up with a few burrs here. And to fix that, put your stamp down on the stone perpendicular so that it's nice and flat, and draw it a couple times. The trick with this, when you draw it, you don't want to roll as you're drawing. You want to keep a nice flat movement. So don't use your wrist. Use your arm when you're pulling. Okay? And when you're doing it, you just have to make sure to hold even pressure and look at it, because you'll see the marks coming in on one side or the other if your tool is off a little bit. And then you adjust. And then go down through. Again, here, I don't want a super sharp edge, but I'm not going to cut it as much as I did these edges. I'm just going to take it and lightly hit it, so it's not as sharp. On the smaller tools, I don't want, let's see if I can do this. See how this radius is right here? I don't want as much on the small tool. I just want to break the edges so it doesn't cut as I'm going around a tight corner. The real trick on this tool is when you test it. Does it stamp clean and smooth? If you've got rough edges, sharp, she's going to dig. So just take out your knife. And what I do, since most of the time this is going to be used in a real tight area, I'll make a tight cut. And what I'll do is just give it a shot and see how it works. And keep in mind, these smaller tools like this, it's real easy to drive it through the leather. If you can see right here, it's got a pretty clean bevel. Let's do the smaller one and see how she walks around it. I'm not in a hurry. You know, if you're doing this, have your cup of coffee with you. Take your time, listen to some music. Don't be in a hurry. If you'll see right here, even it walked around that real nice. You can see where I tested it up here. I've got a real nice, clean bevel from that tool. This one, by reshaping it, it's been a lot easier if you do a lot of figure carving. Another problem that I've run across on these little marking tools, stencil tools, where you trace your lines, when I got it, it's almost a needle point. And it cuts almost. It doesn't glide. It's nice for a fine line, but if I'm tracing over paper with that, I'm going to be ripping the paper. So this one is pretty easy to work with. You just put your rouge down, come down. I'll try this first, and I'm rolling it, you know, different ways, so I'm not creating flat spots. It's getting there, but it's not quick enough. So I'm going to go to a stone. I'm just going to gently I don't have much pressure on it at all. Still not there. And this is a lot of personal preference on what you find to be the right smoothness that you want. Again, I'm going to a finer stone. Okay. Now, and I may come down like this. And I'm feeling it. And when I get where I think I'm good, come back and try it again. See how much better it runs than this? When I put it in a damp piece of leather, I can get nice and clean. And this may take you a few times to do this to get the feel that you want. But this is personal preference. It's what you find comfortable and what you want. This one I've done for me, and it just glides. And I like it. It may be a little bit bigger, but it works for me. So we've covered, modifications of tools. Simple modification that I've had. I bought these modeling tools. I like them, but the grips were shifting on me. They became loose. So all I did was take some shrink tubing, bring over it, shrink it down, and now I don't have any slip or movement. It works much better. I did modify this tool, but if you go to Jim Linnell, he has a video already on modifying this modeling spoon to make it work better. There's no point in, redoing what he's already done so well. The final one I'm going to go over with you, I don't have a tool before modification because I modified it. Now I got to find it. There it is. Okay. And this one. And one more that I'm looking for. And since I've got you on with me, it's kind of hard. Okay. This one is the 916. It's a grass stamp. The 916 and the 917 right here, and then there's a 928 below it, were grass stamps. The 933, let me see if I can give these so you can see them better. That stamp, the 917, the 916. The 933 was supposed to be in between these two, but they changed the design completely. They put a grooved serrated inside, and they put these long feet on it. And to me, it didn't fit with where it was in the early Tandy stamps. The shape of it to me wasn't right, the slots. But I've got a Barry King from his Jim Linnell Pine Tree set, which looks an awful lot like a 934. In the original Tandy catalog. or one of them, I won't say original. When I was looking at it, and I was looking at the 933, this one, particular one was from Craft Japan. It was like, let me grind this down and see what I can do. This one took a lot of work because I took off a lot of the top and I took off those ears on the bottom. This angle right here is still original. That's the angle and the width of the tool to begin with. Once I got this profile ready, then I ground back this top edge a little bit. I radiused it. What I ended up with was a tool that is very similar to the 934. It's not a perfect match, but I can use this pretty much interchangeably with the 934 now. It doesn't take a lot to modify these tools to make them do what you want. And if they're not working for you, like the 933 that I had wasn't working for me, I didn't like it. I didn't have anything to lose. If I ruined the tool, I was out that $11 to $15. But even if I ruined it, I learned how to do things, what worked and what didn't work. And I could take that to the next tool. If I was learning and starting, I would start with the simple cleanup of the edges, a little polishing, before I started going into removing a lot of material. I hope this was some help for you. And I hope these videos are doing something. I appreciate your time and have a blessed day.